Imagine being a billionaire tycoon, used to having everything you want, but finding yourself trapped in a life of loneliness and secrets. Jonathan Ravenswood decided to spend Christmas alone in his secluded castle, far from everyone. But what he doesn't expect is for the past to come knocking at his door. The unexpected arrival of his ex-girlfriend Isabella brings to the surface long-buried feelings and a family secret that could destroy everything he's built. What will Christmas bring for them? A chance for redemption or a final separation? Stay with us until the end and discover how Christmas can either be a moment for a fresh start or a goodbye, when past secrets begin to surface. Don't miss this story of love, mystery, and thrilling twists. Jonathan Ravenswood had always known his life would be marked by success. From a young age, he built a financial empire that made him one of the richest men in the world. His castle in the mountains reflected his life: vast, impressive, and isolated. However, over the years, what seemed like a prestigious accomplishment had turned into a prison. This Christmas, Jonathan decided to isolate himself from the world. He didn't want to hear about parties, business, or worst of all, be surrounded by family and friends who always wanted something from him. Christmas, once a time for celebration, now only brought him bitter memories. He sat near the fireplace, a glass of whiskey in hand, watching the flames crackle. Snow was falling outside, covering the castle's landscape, but the loneliness within him felt colder than the winter surrounding his home. No matter how successful he was in business, none of it filled the emptiness in his heart. The loss of his ex-girlfriend Isabella was still a ghost that haunted him, and he wondered if the mistake of letting her go still chased him. His reflection in the window against the snowy background was a constant reminder of who he had become, a man of power but without life. He looked at the clock. It was almost 8 o'clock, and he knew this would be another lonely night, with no light at the end of the tunnel. The main door of the castle creaked as it opened. Jonathan turned around, surprised, unsure of what to expect. He hadn't scheduled any appointments, and no one was supposed to be there. Yet, the figure that entered the hall was familiar, though unexpected. Isabella Thornton, his ex-girlfriend, stood frozen at the threshold, wearing a heavy winter coat. She looked exactly as he remembered her, elegant, with brown hair cascading in soft waves over her shoulders, her eyes as intense as the first day they met. Jonathan stood still, unsure whether to rise or pretend he didn't recognize her. But there was no denying it. She still had an impact on him, a presence that, even after years, made him feel something he preferred to keep buried. "Isabella," he said, almost in a whisper. "What are you doing here?" She smiled faintly, a mix of shyness and determination. "I needed to talk to you, Jonathan. I need answers. And besides, it's been so long since we've seen each other. I thought Christmas could be a good time to resolve some things." Jonathan watched her with suspicion, sensing that this visit wasn't casual. "You know this isn't the best time. I'm alone for a reason." Isabella took a step forward, unafraid. "I know. I'm alone too, Jonathan. Maybe that's exactly why I needed to come here. Maybe it's time to finally clear up what happened between us." She walked into the center of the hall, and as she did, Jonathan felt an old discomfort and pain stir within him. He knew the past would never stay buried, but seeing Isabella there, with the same eyes he once loved, the emotional barriers he had built began to crack. "Why now? Why after all this time?" Jonathan asked, unable to hide the frustration in his voice. Isabella moved toward the window, watching the snow fall, just as he had moments before. "Because there's something I need to tell you, Jonathan. Something that involves you and your family. Something I never spoke about, but now I can't keep it a secret anymore. Maybe, just maybe, Christmas is the right time to reveal what's been buried. The night was cold, and the conversation unfolding inside the castle felt even more intense than the winter outside. Jonathan and Isabella sat face to face, the tension between them palpable. The words Isabella was about to say could change everything, and Jonathan wasn't sure how to handle it. "Jonathan, there's something you don't know about what happened between us," Isabella began, looking at him with a seriousness he rarely saw in her eyes. "Before we broke up, you thought the reason was my lack of commitment, but it wasn't just that." Jonathan felt a pang in his chest, a growing sense of fear. He didn't want to relive the old hurts, but his curiosity, mixed with guilt, pushed him to listen. "Isabella, what are you trying to say?" he asked, his voice tense. He already had an inkling of what she might reveal, but feared the truth could be more painful than anything he had imagined. She sighed and lowered her gaze, before finally deciding to speak. "The reason I pulled away from you wasn't just because I wanted my freedom or because our lives went in different directions. The truth is, your father was involved in something that directly affected our relationship. He had a debt with my family." Jonathan's eyes widened, confused. "What? What are you saying?" "My father was always transparent with me." Isabella looked up at him, her eyes now filled with pain. "Jonathan, you never knew this, but your father was involved in a legal business that affected my family. When I found out, I tried to find a way to resolve it without you knowing. I wanted to spare you another burden, but the truth is, deep down, this is what drove us apart." The silence that followed was suffocating. Jonathan stared at her, trying to process the words he had just heard. His father, the man he had always admired and respected, was involved in something so dark it could destroy his family's reputation. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside him: anger, sadness, confusion. But at the same time, he understood what Isabella was saying. She had distanced herself to protect him. "Why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you let me know the truth?" Jonathan asked, his voice breaking with a mix of emotions. "Because I didn't want you to have to choose between me and your family. I knew it would destroy you. But now, with Christmas coming and knowing the truth needs to come out, I couldn't carry this alone anymore," Isabella replied with a sincerity that touched Jonathan deeply. He closed his eyes for a moment, trying to process her words. He felt like his world was falling apart. The truth about his father and the loss of Isabella, it all seemed intertwined in a way he never imagined. The air in the castle was heavy, but the sound of the falling snow outside seemed softer, as if nature itself was trying to soothe the two broken hearts inside the hall. Jonathan and Isabella, now closer, began to understand that despite everything, Christmas could be the moment for redemption. But the weight of the secret still hung over them. "I need to know more, Isabella. How did this affect you? And what happened between our families?" Jonathan asked, the pain in his voice now evident. Isabella, with a deep sigh, began to share more about what she had discovered. She revealed details of how her father, Jonathan's father, and other associates were involved in a network of illegal businesses, including a series of complex transactions and financial risks. She had learned of this through family sources, and when she confronted her father, he asked her to remain silent. The fear of putting Jonathan in a difficult position was what led her to distance herself, so he wouldn't have to deal with the truth. "I saw you pulling away, Isabella, but I never imagined it was because of something so devastating. Did you really think I couldn't handle this?" Jonathan asked, frustrated with the idea of being shielded from such an important truth. She looked at him, sadness in her eyes. "I loved you too much to see you suffer. I never thought I could lose you, but at the same time, I didn't want to be the cause of that. And in the end, that's what happened. I lost you." Jonathan fell silent, feeling a mix of anger and understanding. On one hand, he understood the need for protection, but on the other, He felt betrayed for being kept away without a chance to make choices. But there was one thing he knew for sure. What they had was real, and perhaps now, Christmas could be the moment to start over. Maybe Christmas isn't just about secrets and lies. Maybe it's about finding a way to heal all this and move forward together, Jonathan said, finally allowing himself to show his vulnerability. Isabella looked at him, a faint smile forming. "I wish that were true. I really wish that, Jonathan." The cold wind battered the walls of the castle, and the snow covered everything in a white, silent cloak. Christmas was approaching, and with it, a growing sense of tension and hope in the air. Jonathan and Isabella had taken a step toward healing, but there was still a long road ahead. The revelations about the past of their families still haunted them, and both knew that Christmas, which had always been a time for unity, could be the perfect moment to decide the fate of their relationship. Jonathan felt torn. His billionaire life, with all its luxuries and responsibilities, now seemed like an empty facade. He looked at the castle he had once loved, but now saw it with different eyes. This place, which had once represented his empire and power, now symbolized the mistakes of the past, the lies, and the secrets that had kept him distant from his true happiness. Isabella, on the other hand, felt closer to Jonathan than ever, but she also carried a deep fear. She knew that the revelation of the secret about their parents and the connection between their families had created a rift between them. Even though the love between them was still strong, she feared that the resentments and choices of the past would separate them forever. As Christmas approached, they both found themselves forced to face not only the family secrets but also their own feelings. They were finally starting to understand each other, but the big question was, would it be enough to start over? On Christmas Eve, the tension between Jonathan and Isabella reached its peak. Jonathan had withdrawn to his office, trying to organize his thoughts. He knew he couldn't keep running from the truth, but he also didn't know how to handle everything he had discovered. His feelings for Isabella were at odds with the revelations surrounding her. Determined to finally address the issues that still hung over them, Isabella went to him. She could no longer wait. The silence between them was becoming unbearable, and she knew it was time to open up completely. "Jonathan, we need to resolve this," she said, her voice firm yet full of anxiety. "We can't keep living between these secrets. Christmas is the perfect time to make decisions, to finally look toward the future. I know what happened between our families is complicated, but we need to decide what we want for ourselves." Jonathan lifted his eyes from his work and looked at her with intensity. "I don't know what to do with all this, Isabella. I wanted to believe that what we feel for each other is still enough to overcome all of this, but the past keeps coming back. And I don't know if I can trust again, not after everything." Isabella stepped closer to him, feeling her heart beat faster. "Jonathan, I know I can't erase what happened, but I never wanted it to tear us apart. I'm here now, willing to try again. Just tell me that you want this too. That you still believe what we have is worth it." For a moment, silence filled the room. Jonathan looked at her, his eyes heavy with emotion. He knew that deep down, there was still a part of him that wanted to give in to their love again, but the fear of being hurt once more stopped him from acting. I don't know if I can trust, Isabella. I'm still processing everything you told me. But one thing is certain, I can't ignore what I feel for you. I just don't know how to rebuild all of this after so much time." Isabella, her eyes filled with tears, moved even closer and placed her hand over his. "We can try, Jonathan. I'm willing to try. Because in the end, I think that's what Christmas represents for me, a chance to start over." Jonathan looked at her for a long moment, his thoughts confused, but something inside him seemed to ignite. The possibility of starting over was right there before him, and he knew he couldn't keep living under the weight of the past. Christmas Day finally arrived, and with it, a sense of change in the air. Jonathan and Isabella had spent the morning in silence, each reflecting on the decision they needed to make. The castle, which for so long had been a symbol of power and control for Jonathan, now seemed more like a place of confrontations and revelations. That afternoon, after a simple and cozy dinner, Isabella finally decided it was time to reveal what had been hidden. She called him to the main hall, where the grand fireplace was lit, and the glow of the flames illuminated their faces. "Jonathan, there's something more you need to know," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Something you should hear, not just from me, but from someone who was directly involved." Jonathan looked at her, a look of doubt on his face. "What are you talking about?" Isabella took a deep breath before telling the story of how her father had been the true mastermind behind the betrayal that involved the castle. He was the one who had manipulated the finances and the negotiations, trying to get a share of Jonathan's inheritance. But Isabella, realizing what was happening, confronted her father and then distanced herself, in a desperate attempt to protect Jonathan. "I didn't want you to know this, but now I understand we can't move forward without facing everything," she said, looking directly at him. "I made a difficult decision at the time, and now I know I did it to protect us, but also to protect myself from losing you." Jonathan was in shock. He remained silent for a few moments, processing her words. It was a devastating revelation, but at the same time, he felt that Isabella's honesty and courage were finally opening the door to healing. He knew that, even with the weight of betrayal, this could be a new beginning. On Christmas Eve, Jonathan withdrew to the study room of the castle, seeking clarity. The impact of the recent revelations still affected him deeply. He knew that the love between him and Isabella was still strong, but the fear of being disappointed again prevented him from fully surrendering. He wasn't sure if what he felt for her could withstand yet another secret, another lie. Isabella, aware of the internal struggle he was facing, decided to go to him, determined to resolve the deadlock between them. She knew that what remained between them was real, but overcoming fear in the past would not be easy. "Jonathan, no matter what has happened, what matters is what we do now," Isabella said, with renewed confidence. "I don't want to live with regrets anymore, and neither do you. And this Christmas, I want us to start over." Jonathan lifted his eyes and looked at her deeply. He felt the weight of her words, and a mix of anger, love, and insecurity washed over him. But as he looked at her, something inside him broke. He realized that despite everything, what he wanted was to start over with her. It didn't matter what the past had brought, but what the future could offer. "I still love you, Isabella. I never stopped loving you. I just needed to be sure I wouldn't be deceived again," Jonathan said, his voice low but full of emotion. Isabella smiled, a smile of relief and happiness. "There are no more secrets between us, Jonathan. Only love and the desire to build something new, together." On Christmas morning, Jonathan and Isabella were together, sitting in front of the castle's fireplace. The atmosphere, once filled with secrets and resentment, was now infused with a new energy. They were ready to start over, without the weight of the past, without the lies and betrayals. Jonathan stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the softly falling snow. He felt that he was finally ready to free himself from everything that had imprisoned him. The decision was made. He would no longer live in the shadow of his past or others' expectations. He and Isabella had found redemption together. "I want our future to be different from now on," Jonathan said, turning to Isabella. "I can't carry the weight of what happened anymore. I want to be happy with you, in every way." Isabella looked at him with tears in her eyes, her smile being the only answer he needed. They moved closer, and in that moment, they no longer needed words. The love between them was stronger than any secret or betrayal. Jonathan and Isabella spent the rest of Christmas Day together, sharing moments of affection, laughter, and conversations about the future. They knew that, despite the obstacles, they were now ready to face whatever came their way. Christmas, which once symbolized separation and pain, now became the symbol of a new beginning. And so, after so many secrets and revelations, Jonathan and Isabella finally faced the past and chose a new path for their future. Christmas, which had once seemed like a symbol of separation and pain, became a moment of redemption and new beginnings for both of them. Can the secrets of the past truly be overcome by love? And what does the future hold for Jonathan and Isabella after so many twists and turns? If you were moved by this story of mystery, love, and redemption, like, share, and comment below to let us know what you thought of the ending. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories filled with surprises. See you in the next video, where the unexpected always happens.